Today we're going to be taking a look at a 2019 sci-fi thriller called Escape Room. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The movie starts with a man called Ben, panicking as he falls down a ceiling into an old library. Ben then walks up to the main floor, but discovers he needs to solve a 4-number puzzle to open it. He moves one of the numbers, but suddenly the wall opposite the exit starts moving towards him, destroying everything in its path. Ben goes into a frantic search for clues around the room and tries more combinations on the door, but the wall doesn't stop moving. Having nowhere else to go and a broken stick in his leg, Ben is trapped between the two walls. But before we can see anything else, the movie transitions to 3 days earlier in Chicago, Illinois. We see a college student, Zoe, in a lecture hall. The professor then asks the class a question, but she's too shy to answer it. After class, her professor tells her that she needs to speak up more and challenges her to do something that would scare her during the Thanksgiving break. Zoe returns to her dorm room, but doesn't join the dorm party. The next morning, her roommate finds a package meant for Zoe outside their room. Inside the package was a note from her professor and a black puzzle box. The film transitions over to Jason, a big-shot stock trader who is currently on a call with a happy client. Later, he receives a package that has a note from the client and a black puzzle box, just like the one Zoe received. Next, we see Ben, a stock boy who works at a grocery store, where he's denied promotion by his boss. Just as his boss was about to leave for the day, he spots Ben's flask and tells him to stop drinking and go make new friends. This comment made Ben feel bad, and his boss apologized for it. The next day, Ben finds a black box and a note from his boss on his workstation. Jason, Ben, and Zoe all open each of their boxes. Zoe figures out the puzzle by herself. Jason uses a tutorial from YouTube, and Ben finds the solution by accident. Inside the box was an invitation card to participate in the Minos escape room, where the winner earns $10,000. Outside the Minos building, we see Ben smoking shortly before a woman named Amanda enters the lobby. She gives the guard her phone and walks into the elevator just before a man named Danny joins her. They both enter the waiting area and meet Jason, Zoe, and Mike already waiting. Ben soon joins them, and they all talk amongst themselves. Danny then reveals that he's been to over 90 escape rooms. After a while, Ben gets tired of waiting and tries to open the door, but the handle breaks off. Seeing that, Danny confirms that the game has started. They scatter around the room looking for clues. Mike finds a screwdriver in a book called Fahrenheit 451. Zoe then turns the oven dial to 451 degrees, which indirectly starts to heat the room. Amanda starts getting anxious, then asks a person talking behind a frosted window for some clues. However, Zoe soon realizes that the voice was a recording. Ben removes a fire extinguisher from the wall, which turns up the heat in the room. Zoe pulls the pin and finds a key for the frosted window. They open the window and find a mannequin holding a phone inside. The phone rings and Jason answers it. The caller simply tells them to follow the rules, but when Jason hangs up, the room gets hotter. Amanda starts panicking. Zoe gives her a glass of water to cool her down. Zoe then spots a sign which says, "Use the coaster." She presses down on a coaster, which reveals an air duct. Zoe then realizes that all 6 coasters must be pressed down to keep the air duct open. Jason, Mike, and Amanda enter the duct while the others hold the coasters down. Zoe soon figures out that a full glass of water could hold them down. Amanda starts panicking in the duct, but Zoe calms her down while Ben and Danny fill up the glasses. They soon discover that they can only fill 5 glasses because Amanda drank one earlier. Ben brings out his flask and fills the last one. Both Danny and Ben enter the duct just before the room bursts into flames. The group is now in a log cabin. Everyone starts getting worried about the realism of the game, but Danny refuses to accept it. Jason opens the front door with the key he got earlier, but there is a second lock that requires 7 letters to open it. Mike sees the quote, "You'll go down in history," on the wall. They try the names of past presidents, but none of them open the lock. Ben soon notices that 9 antlers are mounted on the wall. He then flashes back to when he and his friends sang the Christmas song, "Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer." He tells them to try Rudolph, and the lock opens. They all exit the cabin, which locks behind them. The group is now in a snowy clearing where the ground is frozen water. A thermometer reads 30 degrees, but Zoe spots that the temperature was dropping. With limited time, the group searches for clues. Jason finds a locked door, while Amanda finds a boat with a jacket in it. Zoe also finds a carving on the boat. Amanda suggests that they'll have to take turns wearing the jacket, starting with Zoe. Later, Mike finds a fishing pole, and Ben spots a fishing hole in the ice. Zoe then wanders off with a compass while the others try to find something with the fishing pole. She then finds a magnet thanks to the compass and rejoins the group. Jason tells her it's his turn to wear the jacket and takes it from her. Ben walks away from the group to smoke, while the others use a magnet to pull up a metal frame from the hole. The frame was filled with a frozen solid block of ice with a key in it. They then ask Ben for his lighter because the block was too solid to break, so Ben throws it halfway across. Danny walks over to pick up the lighter, but the ice underneath him breaks and he falls into the water. Amanda wants to go after him, but Mike stops her, saying that she wouldn't make it back alive. Without the lighter, the group uses their body heat to melt the ice block by placing their hands on it. They manage to melt the block, but the key doesn't open the door. Soon, a door on the other side opens. They make a run for it, but the ice underneath them starts breaking, but luckily they all make it through. The next room looks like a bar, but everything in the room is bolted to the ceiling about 20 feet high. Mike notices that the 8-ball is missing from the pool table. Soon, the phone on the pool table rings. They answer it, and the voice tells them to watch their steps, just before a floor piece falls off, revealing a 15-story drop under the room. Everyone holds the wall, but Amanda climbs up the bar and finds a safe that requires a 4-digit number. Zoe notices a puzzle on the wall and climbs up to try to solve it. Ben and Mike join her, while Jason climbs on a platform next to a door missing a handle. Over time, the floor of the room starts falling, and eventually, Zoe solves the puzzle and gives Amanda the combination for the safe. Amanda opens the safe and collects the missing 8-ball, which would serve as the door handle. She puts it in her pocket and tries to make it across the room, but the ball falls off to the last remaining platform in the room. Amanda jumps down and throws the ball to Jason just before the floor falls off. She grabs and holds on to the hanging telephone cord, but before anyone could help her, the cord snaps and she falls to her death. The group enters the 4th room, and they all recognize the 6 hospital cubicles as replicas of hospital rooms that they were once in after their accidents. Zoe was the only survivor of a plane crash that killed her mother. Ben was the sole survivor of an accident that killed his friends. Mike was the only survivor of a mine cave-in that killed his brother, while Jason was the only survivor of a boat overturning in icy water. They later find files on Amanda and Danny, which suggests Amanda was the only survivor of a bomb blast in Iraq, while Danny was the sole survivor of a gas leak that killed his family. Zoe then realizes that the designers of the escape room wanted to know who the ultimate survivor would be among the 6 of them. Soon after, a TV turns on and begins a 5-minute countdown. The video displays an open heart surgery and says that they need to put their hearts into it. Zoe suggests they stop playing the game and starts destroying the cameras. Jason then finds an EKG machine and some canisters of poison which will be released once the countdown is over. Jason feels the machine needs to record a high heart rate, so he attaches a machine to Mike and increases his heart rate with a defibrillator, killing him in the process. Jason then attaches the machine to himself and calms down to reduce his heart rate. The process works and the door opens. The countdown ends and the gas starts to fill up the room. Ben pleads with Zoe to leave the room, but she refuses and continues breaking the cameras. Out of options, Ben leaves her. Zoe destroys all the cameras in the room, but she eventually falls on the floor and starts foaming at the mouth. Ben and Jason enter the 5th room, which has a black and white checkered pattern everywhere. Ben confronts Jason for killing Mike, but soon realizes that Jason killed his friend in the boat so that he wouldn't have to share a jacket. Jason then tells Ben that they were both murderers, since Ben was the driver when he had the accident that killed his friends. Ben walks away angry, but finds a hatch. He calls Jason and they open it together. But they notice the handle rubbed a hallucinogenic substance on their hands. They search for the antidote in the room while having hallucinations. Ben finds the antidote, but it was only a single dose. Jason fights him for it, but Ben kicks him to a table, which kills him on impact. Ben uses the antidote and jumps down the hatch, which brings us to the opening moments of this movie. As the walls get close, Ben manages to squeeze himself into the fireplace. The walls smash together and break the door. Ben enters a big room full of computers and a large screen that displays the other 6 contestants, each with their faces crossed except his. Soon, the game master comes in and greets Ben. He explains to him what the game was about and the people involved. Elsewhere, 2 workers enter the hospital escape room to remove Mick and Zoe's bodies. They soon notice a breathing tube hanging from the ceiling, but before they could react, Zoe attacks them from behind with an IV stand. She knocks them out and takes their gun. Ben is about to leave when the game master tries to strangle him with a wire. The overhead screen then shows Ben, Zoe, and the game master as the contestants. Zoe shoots the game master but doesn't kill him. She tries to help Ben up, but the game master attacks her and grabs the gun. But before he can shoot them, Ben hits him in the head with a glass container and kills him afterward. The overhead screen then crosses out the game master's face and declares Ben and Zoe the winners. 6 months later, Ben and Zoe meet at a cafe. Zoe then shows Ben everything she was compiling on Minos, which involved all the cover-up stories used for their other contestants. She also found out that their headquarters is in New York, and Ben agrees to fly with her in 2 weeks to take them down. The film transitions to a plane in distress. We soon learn that it was a Minos escape room testing scenario. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you never want to miss on another recap from this channel.